The World's Fair is a wonderland of progress, a glimmering beacon of human ingenuity. Every night, the city hums with the feverish energy of men reaching toward the future, believing themselves architects of something greater, something lasting. But I, too, am a builder. My work is more intimate. Where they construct towers of steel and glass, I mold the rawest materials of all: flesh, bone, and the trust of the foolish. This latest acquisition came to me through sheer providence. A laborer, James, I believe, strong, broad-shouldered, with the weary look of a man who has broken his back for another's fortune. He had been working in my castle for weeks, toiling under the illusion that he was shaping something grand. The fools believe they are constructing a palace of luxury, never once questioning the labyrinthine passages, the rooms with no doors, the airtight chambers that need no explanation. James was useful, but men like him are replaceable. And when the opportunity presents itself, I am not one to waste it. The boarding rooms above my drugstore have become a most convenient hunting ground. Travelers, workers, drifters, they come and go, no one remembering their names once they have vanished. James had retired early that evening, his body spent from a day of hauling bricks, his mind dulled by exhaustion. He did not stir as I turned the valve hidden within the wall, releasing an invisible tide of ether into his chamber. Silent hand, creeping through the air, seeping into his lungs, whispering him into oblivion. I watched through the peephole, as I often do, fascinated by the fragility of man. At first, there was no sign of struggle, only the gradual slowing of breath, the body relaxing into the promise of sleep. Then the moment of realization, a flutter of the fingers, the faint twitch of a leg. His chest rose sharply, a body attempting to rouse itself from a death it did not yet understand. I relished his panic. He turned in his bed, fingers grasping at the collar of his shirt, legs kicking in a feeble attempt to flee. But there was nowhere to go. The gas was thorough, patient, relentless. His movements became sluggish, his lips parted as though to call for help that would never come. Then, stillness. I did not enter immediately. The gas must dissipate after all. But when at last I stepped inside, I was met with the same sight I have seen many times before. A body left behind by a mind that had no choice but to surrender. His eyes, still open, were clouded with a final, unanswered question. The disposal of flesh is an art I have refined to perfection. A blade to the joints, the careful peeling away of all that is temporary, until all that remains is the architecture of a man, the true foundation beneath the facade. James was sturdy in life, and in death, he was no less impressive. His bones, once stripped of their burdensome covering, were pristine, unmarred. And so, as I have done before, I prepared them for a new purpose. A thorough boil in my chemical vat removed the final remnants of identity. Then came the varnish, the lacquer, touches of age applied with a master's hand. By the time I was finished, the remains no longer belonged to a man with a name or a history. They were simply another relic for the halls of academia. Dr. Winslow had been most delighted with my latest delivery. A remarkable specimen, he said, running his fingers along the polished surface of a femur. One of the best conditioned I've ever seen. I nodded, suppressing my amusement. If only he had seen James just days before, sweating in the midday sun, hauling bricks and mortar for the very building that had become his tomb. The irony is delicious. The doctors, the men of science who hold themselves above common laborers, who sneer at the uneducated, they now pay handsomely for the remains of a man they would have ignored in life. The castle continues to rise, its walls growing taller with each passing day. It is a monument to my work, my genius, my indulgences. The laborers believe they are building something for others to admire, something that will stand long after they are gone. They are right, in a way, for they will always be a part of it. H. Holmes.